And if you have a very small staff, then the board is going to have to be more involved because you have to leverage. And some of the things that I think get into our thinking very appropriately, it's well to remember that it's not the size of your organization that causes people to invest in it. It is the size of your mission. It is the power of your mission. And I always think back on Project Open Hand. How many of you are familiar with Project Open Hand? Ruth started that in her kitchen. She and 2 other women said, look, nobody's getting nutritious food to people with HIV and AIDS because Meals on Wheels wasn't geared up for it. And they started it in her kitchen. She raised millions of dollars even before she had her 501c3. And she, went through the community foundation to, accept the money so that they could then work with it themselves. So it's not the size of the organization, it's the size of the mission, which says that you have to be able to say, if we exist, if our fundraising exists, not because we have needs, but because we meet needs, what are those needs? What are the needs that we are meeting? How well can you express those? How good is your elevator speech as a board member? If I run into you at the Stanford Shopping Center, or I run into you somewhere else and I say, gee, are you still on the board of, tell me, what's going on there? Do you have your elevator speech? But more than that, do you have your elevator question? We'll talk more about that with the ambassador today. When was the last time you looked at your board member job description? How many of you have looked at it within the last year? Okay. Go back and look at your board member job description. And look at where it says about helping to raise money and give money. And chances are, if it's like a lot of them I've seen, it's like way down at the bottom. After attend meetings. Oh, be still my heart. That is so exciting, I can hardly wait. Woo! Attending meetings, you can put that at the bottom. What you need to say is to support the organization financially at an appropriate level, to participate in donor development and fundraising in an appropriate way, and then you can talk about all the other things as well. But if we don't put it in our job descriptions, why would anybody do it? And if when you recruit, somebody says, oh, I'd really like to come on your board, but I'll tell you something, I'll do anything but, finish my sentence, fundraise, ask for money, however it's said. And if you are sold on the AAA at the end of today, then you will say, that's okay. We encourage people to really work in the area they're most confident, and we want people to be ambassadors, advocates, and/or askers, and that's how we approach it. But no one is off the hook for development. Because if you're not all working to develop relationships in your networks, in the community, if you're not bringing in names to every board meeting, and I'm not saying, yeah, these are the people I know who could give $1 million. Like, who has a list like that anymore? How about, these are people I know who share our values. How about, these are people I've met since the last board meeting, and I think they'd like to know more about our organization. How about something as simple as that? When San Jose Rep was ramping up for the major campaign that they had many, many years ago, I was doing some work with them, and they started this program of just every day, every board meeting, there would be a sheet of paper on top of the board packet that just said, since our last board meeting, I met these people who I think would be interested in knowing more about the San Jose Rep. And you know what? By the time they were ready to start planning that campaign, they had a whole lot more names in their database than they'd ever had before. So we have to be deliberate and we have to be intentional. And